Your most lethal weapon isn't your firearm, but your brain.
It's not often I'd be talking about Agatha Christie, Renny Harlin, Val Kimer, and LL Cool J in the same breath, but thanks to the world of Tinseltown magic, here we are. And before you're misled into thinking this video is about the great Netflix show of the same name, let me just set the record straight. This ain't that one, folks. Nope, the movie we're focusing on today somehow manages to blend the classic British literary world of Agatha Christie with LL Cool J spitting out lines like,
I guess we found out his weakness. Bullets.
That's right, gore-hounds. 20 years ago, director Renny Harlin was best known for action classics, pirate movies, dangling Sylvester Stallone from great heights, and giant sharks, way before the likes of The Meg and, more recently, Under Paris. Then, an intriguing project came his way that would blend the worlds of Agatha Christie and gangster rappers, in a movie that wasn't met with a particularly warm welcome upon release, Mindhunters. The entire one of us is a killer and we must find out who before we are all murdered subgenre has, of course, been done to death, if you pardon the pun.
That's a joke.
Mindhunters takes the premise to a secluded island that's been rigged up by the FBI to look like a training camp, where the suspects, killers, are assembled and must work out who the psycho amongst them is, which is basically a reimagining of Agatha Christie's mystery novel, And Then There Were None, where a graduating class of would-be FBI agents are sent to the fictional Onega Island, an isolated training compound, where they will spend the weekend profiling an imaginary killer known as the Puppeteer. Harlin had already proven he could handle action with Die Hard 2, Cutthroat Island, Cliffhanger, The Long Kiss Goodnight, and Deep Blue Sea, all of which are movies with more than a handful of redeeming features, plus some very memorable sequences.
We're gonna seal off this.
However, could he turn those skills into a movie where Val Kilmer's awesome mullet was in danger of stealing the show? Let's find out here on WTF Happened to Mindhunters.
What's the point? The point is that they're isolated, alone, and forgotten. That's what it's like to be inside the mind of the sociopath.
Over the years, the crime thriller and horror genres have collided wonderfully, with films such as The Silence of the Lambs, Seven, and more recently Longlegs, proving that the mixture of a police procedural whodunit with some lovely gore is a winner with audiences. Sure, you may get the occasional dud like the Johnny Depp, Heather Graham 2001 thriller From Hell, but overall it's a genre with legs. Long ones, in fact. However, could Mindhunters continue the trend of mixing the crime, thriller, and now slasher genre not only being high in quality, but also memorable for all the right reasons? Well, gorehounds, we'll take a deep dive into its merits shortly. But first, let's take a look at how it came to be in the first place, and who the talent is both behind and in front of the camera. South African filmmaker Wayne Kramer, probably best known for directing the 2003 crime drama The Cooler, sold the spec screenplay for Mindhunters to 20th Century Fox under his original idea for the project's title, Unsub, which sounds like something you should definitely not be doing to our channel and is also a pretty bad title for a crime slasher flick. Fox seemed to agree and insisted the movie be called Mindhunters instead, despite Kramer having reservations because it clashed with the title of John Douglas's crime book titled Mindhunter. The novel was the main inspiration behind the Netflix show of the same name from 2017, which sadly didn't make it past 2 seasons. As I mentioned earlier, behind the camera was Finnish filmmaker Renny Harlin, but it almost wasn't to be. Harlin was originally attached to direct the film adaptation of A Sound of Thunder, based on the short story by Ray Bradbury. However, once he learned that Val Kimer had cultivated the most awesome mullet as tribute to the great man, he couldn't turn Mindhunters down, which may not be 100% true, gorehounds, but I like to think it is. So with the main man on board to sit on the director's chair, just how did the casting of main characters Jake Harris, Gabe Jensen, Lucas Harper, and Sarah Moore come about? Christopher Walken, Martin Sheen, and Gary Busey were all offered the part of Jake Harris, but they rejected the film before Val Kimer and his mullet agreed to do the movie. The role of Jake Harris almost went to another horror alumni, Ryan Phillippe, but was ultimately offered to Trainspotting star Johnny Lee Miller. Gerard Butler was originally set to play Lucas Harper, but he dropped out to star in Timeline, while Catherine Morris was cast to play Sarah Moore. Shooting on the movie mainly took place in the Netherlands, including its superb capital city, Amsterdam, and its northern borough, Amsterdam Noord, plus The Hague and Delft. The production also shot in the beach town of Zandvoort, on the Veluwe heathlands in the Gelderland province, plus the training village of the police academy in Ossendrecht. In order to cut costs down, the bulk of the movie's post-production was moved to the UK and London, where a lot of Hollywood productions go to use the excellent post facilities in and around Soho. Director Harlin apparently toned down the violence during post-production in order for the film to secure a PG rating in the US. However, the MPAA still felt that the movie was too dark and issued it an R, which prompted Harlin to reinsert the scenes he'd initially removed.
Harris, you're one sick son of a bitch.
Renny Harlin is a very good movie director, and I've enjoyed many of his films over the years, especially the often underrated Die Hard 2 and its airport-based shenanigans. I also really dug the Sylvester Stallone thriller Cliffhanger, and not just because Ace Ventura 2 has an awesome piss take of the famous wire scene. That poor damn raccoon, man. For some reason, however, I never saw the attraction of paying my hard-earned bucks to see LL Cool J and the be-mulleted Val Kimer team up as part of an Agatha Christie-inspired whodunit. So, the opportunity to catch the movie for the first time here at JoBlo and provide some perspective on it was great. Actually watching the movie, though, that part wasn't so great. The plot, as mentioned briefly earlier, follows a group of FBI trainees who are taken to a remote island for simulation training. However, once there, they realize that they're being hunted by a serial killer who might be someone amidst them. So far, so good. The premise is fine, and although it's not at all original, it could have been a fun ride. However, writers Wayne Kramer and Kevin Brogdon don't manage to inject the characters with any real personality, and the script is often laughably tedious. Once the FBI students are sent to the remote island by Val Kilmer's maverick instructor, they undertake an exercise in which they must provide a profile of the apparently fictitious serial killer known as the Puppeteer. Naturally, all is not what it seems, and before long, the exercise becomes a battle for survival. This would usually be all well and good if the resulting carnage was heavy on the claret. Unfortunately, though, what we get are people being frozen by jets of helium, death by acid cigarette, being impaled by spears, and not much more, to be honest. Some of the kills are admittedly quite inventive and match what seems like the one and only character trait each victim has been afforded by the writers. There's one character who won't go anywhere without a gun, one who likes to smoke, and they invariably die due to the weakness in their particular trait. The killer's habit of keeping to a strict deadline for their murdering spree does bring some decent tension, but the eventual reveal isn't satisfying enough to have kept them hidden in the movie for so long. Overall, Mindhunters is exactly what you'd expect from how it was sold during its marketing campaign. It looks like a direct-to-video title, and despite some fun sequences, it's probably best left to those looking for a cheap laugh and some tame kills on a Monday night.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Who's the next motherfucker to go?
Mindhunters was released domestically on May 13, 2005, but only made a disappointing $4.5 million from a reported budget of $27 million. The movie's release strategy was perhaps not the smartest, with it opening on the same day as the third Star Wars prequel, Revenge of the Sith, plus other movies with a similar audience demographic. Kingdom of Heaven was in its second week, the Jet Li action flick Unleashed was doing quite well, plus another Rappers movie had already grossed way more than Mindhunters, Ice Cube's XXX State of the Union. Critically, the movie received generally negative reviews, and it currently holds a 24% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and the consensus calls it, quote, a retread of 10 Little Indians that lacks the source material's wit, unquote. Roger Ebert awarded the movie 2.5 stars and had the following to say about how other movies can be likened to it. Quote, I will leave you with only one clue. In House of Wax, which opened last week, the movie theater is playing Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. In this movie, the theater marquee advertises The Third Man. No, The male characters are not numbered in order, so you can't figure it out that way. Nor is the killer necessarily a woman. So think real hard. What else do you know about The Third Man? If you've never seen The Third Man, I urge you to rent it immediately as a preparation or substitute for Mindhunters, unquote. So then, Gore-Hounds? I didn't love the movie, nor was it a complete disaster. But with a very capable director on board, plus a cast that had some excellent pedigree involved in it, it was a letdown overall. The whole, one of us is a killer and we must find out who before we're all murdered trope has been done to death, so to speak, and has been done better elsewhere. However, the most important opinion we always love to hear is from you guys. So what's your take on Mindhunters? Did you buy into the fun premise and semi-inventive death scenes? Or was this one just a cheesy mullet away from absurdity? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you wonderful Gore-Hounds next time. Thanks for watching.
When's the situation secure, Agent?
On the drive home.